and welcome to this edition of City Chat with City Magazine. My name is Kilee Harmon, and I'm the general manager of City Magazine. And today, we are visiting with kind of the lady who helped give me this job, in a sense. Mary Van Sickle. She is the executive director of Dakota Media Access. Well, hello.
Thank you, Kilee.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
So, okay, now this is going to be really weird because you know what you're doing, and I just kind of got thrown into this position, and I pretend like I know what I'm doing, so critique me if as needed, okay?
Oh, I think you know what you're doing.
So, now tell me, how did you get to where you are today? What is your whole life story, please?
Oh my. How much time do we have?
Oh, we've got some time, so don't you worry about that.
Well, I don't want to go too far back, but originally I'd come to Bismarck in 1980 to run a retail operation, to manage a retail operation, a furniture store, and that went on for a few years, and then I became a mother and went to work part-time, and I actually ended up working for the Downtown Association in Bismarck.
Oh, okay.
So, and that was a wonderful job and exposed me to the world of nonprofits. At that time, there was a lot going on downtown. The street fair was growing, and we grew it into a big event, and it was really fun. I met a lot of business people and just had a ball. You know, it was a great job. And from there, went to marketing director at the Civic Center. I was there for a year. When Paul Johnson was the manager at the Civic Center. God, I'm really dating myself on these things, aren't I? And that was a great experience, too, to work with such a major facility as the Bismarck Civic Center and see how that operates from behind the scenes. And then for 9 years, I was an economic development specialist with the Bismarck Mandan Development Association, again, another nonprofit in the community, but a major business organization in the community.
A major entity.
Yeah, and another education there, working with a lot of different business people. And so I was on the board of directors at Community Access Television. So I was serving on the board, and the executive director decided to move back to Montana. He had been there for, I think, 13 years. At that time, and was moving back to Montana. His wife had a position there as well. So the board president at the time was Jack McDonald, and Jack said, you know, what about you? Would you be interested in something like this? And I thought, well, I don't have any media experience. I don't know anything about production. And he said, yeah, but you know how this organization runs, and we need a person to run this nonprofit organization. There are people there that do production. So. And I thought about it for a while, and I thought, you know, it's so creative. What an environment, and what a great service that organization brings to the community. So I said, sure, and I applied with some other very qualified people, and was fortunate enough to get the job. And here we are, almost 13 years later. So 13
years ago.
Almost, yeah.
Wow. Now it was Community Access Television, right?
Yes.
CAT.
Right.
And so what did you do then? Like, what was the mission then, and how has it changed throughout the years?
Well, at that time, we were operating just the single channel, Channel 12 on the cable system, and that was called Community Access Television. You know, the major changes that we've done throughout the years, well, one of the first things within the first couple of years is that we automated the systems, the playback system within the facility. You know, previous to that, we had people who were actually sitting in front of tape decks, putting tapes in and hitting play at night, and we were only on for a few hours a day in the evenings. And then Sundays, because we had a lot of local churches who provide programming for us for Sunday programs. But so we automated the systems so that they're all web-based, and we can run them from our homes if we want to. But so that was one big step, was automation. As the years went by, you know, we've made a lot of technology changes, but probably one of the next biggest change was the city of Mandan came on board and wanted their meetings televised and made contributions towards our budget. So that was a big deal.
Was City of Mandan the first one to do that, or was it the city of Bismarck?
Oh no, Bismarck started us in 1987. The then commission established the organization as a nonprofit. and they appointed our board.
Okay.
And we still have a board that's appointed by the city commission, but of course Bismarck and Mandan both contribute to that. So we have 80% of our board comes from Bismarck, 20% from Mandan, and that's how our funding is split as well.
Okay, so Bismarck and Mandan, that's how you guys get your funding, is actually from those two cities.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it does go through the cities, but essentially our funding comes from cable subscribers in the community. And we have about, I think the numbers are around 30,000 cable subscribers in the Bismarck-Mandan area. And everyone pays a franchise fee on their bill. And regardless of whether or not there's an a community television operation to go along with that, almost every city in the country pays a franchise fee on their bill. Our leadership many years ago in 1985 decided that they're going to use some of that money to operate their own channels. And that was, quite visionary at the time. So yes, some of that funding comes through the city of Bismarck, some of it comes through the city of Mandan. They collect those franchise fees from the cable operator, Mid-Continent Communications at this juncture, and has been for quite a while. They collect that fee, Mid-Continent, they provide that to the cities, and we get a portion of that money for our budget. Not all of it, certainly, never have, but we have to submit our budget on an annual basis to the cities, and they review that through their budgeting process.
Okay, so now you guys also then went through another major change of the name from Community Access Television to Dakota Media Access.
Correct.
What was the need for that, and how was that experience?
Well, we grew beyond one channel. We grew beyond the Community Access Television title. We really don't even consider ourselves a television operation. We're really more of a public service organization. So, and it really encompasses media in general now, because our content delivery is not just through our cable channels. We deliver a lot of content online through our website at freetv.org. So through those distribution systems, we had a second channel established.
Which was Channel 2.
Right, government access Channel 2. We now have that, along with our community access Channel 12, and then delivering content online at freetv.org through live streaming, which is simultaneous with our government channel, and video on demand, that we store a lot of programming online.
And so people can go in, research a show that they wanted to watch maybe a year ago.
Exactly. And government meetings that are online, which is really important. So we had all these ways to deliver. We were much more than just that community access television channel was, so we needed an organizational name that encompassed all of that. And I think, again, the distinction needs to be made that Community Access Channel 12 is a public access channel. Channel 2 is a government access channel. Public access means that people can submit programming to us. Just like you submit this today. Program comes to us through you. You produce all of it. Yep, exactly. And that's what it is for. In fact, last year we had over 700, almost 750, I believe, programs that just were submitted to us. Just walk in the door, so to speak.
So now how do you, what if you had like 1,000 or 1,500? You can't air every single type of program. So how do you decide which ones to work with and which ones to say, okay, maybe not now?
Well, we can't say no to really any program as long as it meets our guidelines. And that is, standard stuff such as it's not selling products, because we're a non-commercial entity, not selling products or services, that it meets standards of decency for the community, not overly violent or sexual in nature, those types of things. And we really can't say no. It isn't up to us to decide this isn't important. Okay. You did a movie or you did a skateboarding video, like someone brings that in. It isn't up to us to decide, well, this isn't important
or relevant.
Right. We don't want to be in that. We don't want to set ourselves up as making those kinds of decisions. So we find a time slot for everything that comes in. And if need be, if it gets to the point, like you say, where we have 1,000 different programs or 1,500, as someday we probably will, then we'll start allocating time slots out on a, on a first come first serve or a lottery basis. We'll figure it out at that time.
Until you go to a third channel.
Exactly. That could be possible.
That definitely could be.
Yeah.
So now, what would you say is the best part about your job, and consequently the worst part at the same time?
Well, there's no worst part that I can think of, but probably one of the biggest challenges is the technology itself. I mean, you deal with that here. You deal with it at your business with the City Magazine and United Printing. I mean, you're always trying to keep up
with the technology
and the investment that it takes, and because our budget and our revenue does come through the cities, we feel especially responsible to be very, very frugal in the decisions we make and the purchasing decisions we make, because you can go crazy and you can get dazzled by some of the technology, and I'm not one to get really dazzled. We have production people who are techie geeks that love things like this, and I'm more of the practical person that says, that sounds good, but
do we really need it?
Yeah, do we really need it? And so we just have to really look at things and maybe put those things off for a while. But on the other hand, we're expected to have the latest, because we do so much training. We have students coming in. We have individuals in the community that we network with, professionals that we work with, kids that want to come in and see the latest cameras and understand this new technology. So we have to be current
with the technology,
but we have to be really careful. So it's a bit of a balance. So that's probably the biggest challenge. I would say. Yeah.
Well, everyone, for you again, we are visiting with Mary Van Sickle, who is the executive director for Dakota Media Access, and that was another question I had. You guys do so much for the community, and this year, obviously, a huge event, the 2011 flood. And all of those meetings, you guys were there for every single meeting, airing it. How was that for you and for your staff? I mean, what was that like to go through that process of being the information givers?
Well, it was an honor to be able to be that go-to organization for the communities, and our staff stepped up, no doubt. I mean, we did a lot of meetings, extra meetings. We were there. It seemed like we were either living in the Tom Baker room over at the City Hall here in Bismarck, or over at the Mandam meeting room for a while. We could have just set up camp. But at the same time, we have to give credit to our local news media. I mean, I think that they were there. They stepped up. And that doesn't happen in every community. So it's good to know that they are always they are there and they care. So they were there. There were a lot of our news media was all over it, and they were providing what they needed to provide. But we're always going to be there when the immediacy maybe goes away, and we're still there plugging away at all the government meetings, and the ones that weren't so once the danger had passed, and we're still there, and we're covering gavel to gavel. And that's the difference, is that we do a lot of government meetings. About 270 this year, live meetings.
Wow. And that has to be up from last year because of...
Yeah, probably about 60 more, we figured. So, and then, it does take a lot of staff time. And we cover gavel to gavel. We archive them online. We replay them for a while on the Government Access Channel 2. So, there's a lot that goes into it.
I find that very beneficial because, you don't always miss, or you don't always see the news at 6 o'clock or at 10 o'clock, but yet you go to Channel 2 and there's always something playing where you can learn information about your city. And so people can't say, well, I had no idea, because it's there.
Yes.
For people to just take part in to become informed.
Well, and I just yesterday I was meeting with Daryl Ragey, who is the regional manager, I believe is his title, for Mid-Continent Communications, our local cable provider, and talk with him about storing our content on video on demand on the cable system, and he was very receptive to that. So we hope in the near future that some of our content maybe not all of our content that we generate, government meetings and local events, concerts and whatnot that we cover, will be stored on the cable systems, video on demand systems, so you can be sitting in your recliner at night, and maybe you don't want to be dealing with the computer, but you can go watch that city commission meeting that happened earlier that night or whatever.
Idea.
Yeah, so that's a great step, and we're so grateful to MidConnet for that opportunity that they're considering that, and I have no reason to think that that won't happen. We also talked about two digital channels that we'll be expanding to, so we'll have a digital presence on the cable system within, I don't know how long it will take us, but we're planning on that too, so that's kind of exciting for us to move.
So now when you say digital channel, what exactly do you mean?
Well, that our programs, which we produce all in a digital format, will now go out in a digital format. Instead of an analog, we sit on cable channel 2 and 12, which are still analog channels, so, and we'll keep those. Those are valuable positions on the system, so we want those, and we will keep those, but we'll have some in the upper tiers that'll have a digital signal, a clear, crisper signal.
Oh, I see.
So that'll be nice. But you asked me earlier about what's the most fun and the best thing about me. Yes, well, I was going to get to that, and I would say
then I continue to interrupt.
Well, this is obviously fun. I get to do a lot of varied things, so the job is wonderful, and I am very appreciative of that. But I think probably the most rewarding part of the job is to work with so many nonprofits in our community. It's amazing. It's just amazing sometimes when you see all the hard work that's going on in our community. I mean, we have a beautiful community, and you don't get a lot of times to see what's going on in the background, but there are challenges. There are people in need, and there are so many great people working on behalf of our community, and it's just great to be able to provide a way for them to get their word out, whether it's through our message board system where they're doing their announcements for their fundraising or whatever it is, or providing them a voice and an opportunity to bring their programs in or produce programs and help them get their message out. It is really a rewarding position to be in.
What would you say is one of your more favorite shows that is on of programming? Well, I know you don't have to say City Chat with City Magazine.
Yes, City Chat. It's hard to answer because we have so many different types of programs coming in. We do produce some content in-house. We have some in-house programs that we produce with some partner organizations. For example, we have a great program that was started last year with the public health in Bismarck and Custer Health over in Mandan Morton, that they come together and provide public health information. That's awesome. And we place that on our government access channel.
And that's
2.
with Mary Telepool.
She hosts the program and coordinates all the guests and all the great people from the public health. And we store all those programs online for people to view. So if you want information on tobacco cessation or whatever, seatbelt safety or whatever it is they're talking about, immunizations, you can find it online as well. So that's a great program. We also started putting together a program with the ARC of Bismarck last year called Capability Chronicles, a program produced by and for people with disabilities. So people with disabilities talking about their lives and how they make their lives work and how they contribute to the community. It's awesome. It's awesome.
It gives you a different insight.
Yeah. But then we've got, we do programs like that, and then we cover, like, for example, this weekend we'll be going to the Belmehus doing the symphony on Saturday night. So a lot of different things. It's hard to say what's your favorite. And then we have all those programs that are submitted to us on a regular basis, like City Chat or Freight Train Todd Haugen's karaoke show.
Freight Train!
From Mandan. It's just very varied. At churches, we have about 7 local churches that submit every week to us their programs, and they do a wonderful job. So such variety.
It's so crazy. That guy has kind of become a celebrity.
Oh, Freight Train?
Oh,
yes.
I mean, I hear
lots of comments.
Lots of comments about Freight Train.
He's a wonderful man. He really is.
It's very cool to see that he's just doing what he's doing.
And he now has his program shows in Fargo and
he's
the
expanding.
Minneapolis area. I can't remember which system or which area he's on in the Twin Cities, but but he exports his program, as we do some of our in-house stuff that we export to different communities. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So now, what do you think is the future for Dakota Media Access? 10 years out, what does it look like?
Well, I think one of our biggest challenges, and has been for a couple of years, is the facility that we're in. We're not accessible, and we have a very, very confined studio, and we don't have enough space to train all the people who want to work on equipment and produce within our facility. So we're hoping that we are in a different location. We hope to be in the downtown area. That would be our dream. We want to stay close to the city county building because we have so much staff moving in and out of there.
So much you guys do there.
So that's a bit of a challenge, and we hope that that's in our future. I don't know if it would be anything radically different, just probably more of the same.
Okay.
That we've got more local programming submitted to us, that we have more opportunities to capture more events. There's so many great things going on in the community, and it could be events that are entertainment based or speakers that are coming in. Next week, the Governor's History Conference is happening in the community. There's so many great speakers. They're capturing all of those events and bringing those programs to us. I mean, what great information for the community. So we hope we just generate more and more.
Just continue to keep doing
Yeah,
it. Now, how
exactly.
many employees do you guys have at Dakota Media Access?
I have to always think about the numbers. We have five full-time equivalents and about 3 part-time people moving in and out. So, and then we always have a handful of volunteers working on various projects at any given time.
Kind of help out with getting the shows going to where they need to go.
Exactly.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that you have a lot of students, so that must mean, do you guys do a lot of internships?
We do have interns. We usually have 1 or 2 a year, interns at Dakota Media Access. We also work with a lot of teachers in the area. We've got relationships with most of the teachers in the area and work very closely with them. If we can supplement their equipment needs, we loan out equipment. That's part of being a public access operation. So that's really exciting. But one thing that we're working on for the spring of 2012 is a film festival.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah. And we've put together a group of people that hopefully we've got good cross-representation from various groups who are interested in developing a film festival for the community. And we're looking at, in the spring of 2012, to do something in the community here to start that effort. And we back to the students and teachers, we want to focus on those students this year, give them a day of workshops and information that can help them then go back and do their thing and work in production. We want to expose kids in this area to the many jobs in production that are here. I mean, you've got URL radio like here, you've got commercial news operations in the community. We've got great opportunities for jobs for these kids right here in Bismarck-Mandan area. There's some wonderful opportunities. This is really a growing career field, production. Yes. I mean, you see it by the explosion of content delivery on the internet.
Exactly.
I mean, it's everywhere. So if you know how to use the tools and you can, tell the story and you can put it all together, wow, you're going to be very marketable. And we want to keep that talent here in this community. That's really important.
So that's going to be during the day, a bunch of workshops for the kids, and then in the evening you guys are planning something for the adults. We
do, and we hope the students come back. It's going to be more of a public event. We hope to bring in some short films that, hopefully produced in the region. We're working with the Fargo Film Festival and down in Aberdeen and others that kind of seeing what they're doing. Maybe we can glean some of the winners from them and have a little screening that evening for public and talk to some film producers and network a little bit. It's a start. The film festivals can take on a lot of different types.
Aspects.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the student-teacher relationships, build that, use that as the foundation, and kind of see where it goes and go from there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So now, tell me the website again for people if they want to watch video on demand.
freetv.org.
And if they ever want to call Dakota Media Access with any questions, what number should they get in touch with?
258-8767.
And if somebody wants to submit some sort of program, who should they talk to?
Well, they can always talk to me, but we do have a lot of information on our website. you can get in there and see what you need to do and the process that you'll go through. But, to call us up and talk to us about your ideas.
Very cool.
Yes.
Well, thank you again, Mary, for coming on this
Thank you.
edition of City Chat with City Magazine and for gracing our November cover.
Oh, it's an honor.
How
I really
exciting.
appreciate it. It is exciting. Thank you so much.
Your cover looks so good. So that's always a plus.
All right.
Well, thank
you
you again, everyone, for tuning into this edition of City Chat with City Magazine. Make sure that you pick up the November issue out on newsstands now. And make sure to head back to thecitymag.com where you can watch past editions of City Chat with City Magazine. Have a good day, everyone.